So welcome to White Wolf. As everybody knows, this is my second show. I am Jonathan Wolf. And for the first time ever on Beacon Live Radio, we're actually streaming this live. So you can actually see into my little den that I've created for myself all the way over here in Brisbane, Australia, which it's a beautiful, crisp morning at 7 a.m. in the morning. In the States on the eastern coast, it's 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And on the west coast, it is 2 p.m., I think. But wherever you are in this world, on this plane, I welcome you to my show. Again, I am Jonathan Wolf, and you are listening to White Wolf, a radio show about shamanism and shamanism in general in relation to ancient crafts, tools, and bringing that all into the modern world. So today's show, as everybody can see when you're following me on Facebook and everything like that, is more to do about journeying and what shamanic journeying is all about, and the tools that the shamans use to do such journeying and stuff like that, and then going through the different realms, which we call the three worlds, which I'll go into talk to a lot more detail in over the next hour. But welcome, wherever you are in the world. I'm just going to start this little session off with a little bit of blessing, and bless your space and bless my space that I'm in. I'm going to call in all the ancestors, the spirits of the north, the south, the east, and the west. And wherever you are, if you're driving, please don't do this, but if you're listening to me at home, in the comfort of your own home, I want you to take 3 deep breaths in. Welcome your guides, welcome your spirit masters, welcome your spiritual animals or the spirit animals or any animal totems into the area that you are, creating a sacred and safe space for you to listen to. And so it is. I appreciate everybody for joining me again. Like I said, this is my second show. So first show nerves have finished, which is great. And I appreciate everybody all over the world, especially all my Australian colleagues and friends, for picking up the recording afterwards and taking a listen to it, and some of the comments that I've received from it, and even on messages from people that I don't really know, that it was really eye-opening and a really great first show. So hopefully we can get that going and continuing in that fashion. And like I said, I'm more of a modern day shaman, even though I do have a lineage of I'd say shamanic ancestors and psychic mediums and healers and empaths and everything like that. For those of you that don't know who I am, I study and practice shamanism over here in Australia, but I used to be based out of San Francisco, a little place called Benicia, just the other side of the Bay Area, and a beautiful little place, and used to travel up to the Redwoods just outside of Santa Rosa, and that was my really spiritual journey and connecting with the ancient redwoods and stuff like that. So, and then my journey, like I said, started off in this lifetime 8 years ago, professionally, where I'm doing this and taking on students and basically passing on my skills, because my ancestors have gifted me my abilities, and I'm so blessed for that. And they've instructed me to pass out all the information that they've had, be it, doesn't matter what lineage you're from in relation to shamanism, or what indigenous culture you've studied in shamanism. As everybody knows, or should know when you're studying shamanism, we're all one and we all practice at the same thing, even though we've got different traditions, etc., but the fundamentals of shamanism worldwide, doesn't matter which culture you go into, is basically exactly the same. So, I started off studying the American Indians, and then I went into the Inuits, and then I went into the indigenous of Canada, and then obviously with the shamanic roots here in Australia, the indigenous of Australia. And then my guides kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, because wasn't my true calling. So I went into the Asian fields, so studied the Japanese shamanism, and also studied, and as I studied, I was being guided. I don't like using the word study, because shamanism is not all about studying and making sure you've got it right. It's about, it's your path in life, your journey for you to accomplish it. Whichever route you go down is your true purpose in life. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not about, gaining a certificate and calling yourself a shamanic practitioner or a shaman or a medicine man or a medicine woman. It's all about making sure that you understand your true journey and making sure that you're aware of your true journey and having the spiritual influences around you in the form of your guides and your spiritual masters and your spiritual mentors to guide you on your true path. I feel that there's a lot of push out there at the moment in relation to shamanism. And like I previously said in my first show, is that I feel and I know through my guides that the base, especially here on this plane, on Earth and Gaia, is everybody on planet Earth at this point in time, be it plant, animal, human, or whatever race you'd like to call yourself, or identify to, all have a base in shamanism. So one must identify where you're going and what you're doing, and this will be given to you by your guides and mentors and everything like that. And then part of the whole journey and experiencing your whole journey is obviously identifying your true path. So I was talking about shamanic journeying, and shamanic journeying is all about showing you your true path. So for first instance, the first journey that you're going to do is all about connecting with the spiritual world. The second journey that you're going to do is going to be connecting with your spiritual guides and your spiritual mentors that are obviously going to help you on this journey. But before one must actually go down this route, one obviously has to be ready. What does that mean? One has to identify the true calling into shamanism, because like I say, shamanism is not a practice, it's not a religion, it's not who you think you want to be. You have to feel the connection with shamanism and feel your specific connection with your true path, because again, shamanism is a way of life. It's a journey of your life. So in preparation to do this, one must be ready. And then you'll find your shamanic mentor will show himself or herself. So I'm always a firm believer in when the student is ready, the teacher will present themselves. And I use the word teacher loosely, because even though the likes of myself, being a teacher or a master, it is all a gift. And if we use that gift incorrectly, and we let ego get into the whole scenario of us, patting ourselves on the back and saying that we're doing the healing and stuff like that, that gift can be removed at any time. So one has to be true to the path, one has to be true to the shamanism, and one has to be true to the understandings that spirits and your ancestors are helping you and guiding you to either, one, take people and train people or mentor people in the arts of shamanism, depending on which culture and path you want to lead down. But again, you're not leading them. The spirit is leading them. You are there just to help them and to basically care for them on their path and to show them the ropes. Because don't take shamanism very lightly. Shamanism, as probably a lot of my listeners that are listening at this point in time know that if you do practice shamanism, it's a weird and wonderful world. I'm not going to say scary because there's no fear based in it. It's a weird and wonderful world. There are stuff that comes out that you're going to have to take a step back and say, wow, did that just really happen? What was the message involved in that? And what am I intending to use that message for? So where I say shamanism is earth-based, there's multi-dimensions and different planes. And wherever we are at this point in time is where we're at in relation to our shamanic studies. So one can study, on the earth-based medicines and stuff like that, and another shaman would be studying on universal planes and using the use of universal energies in that sense. So it's a little bit controversial, I do know, but that is my firm belief, and that's the belief that I've been gifted to pass on the knowledge. Because unfortunately, years and years have passed, hundreds of thousands of years have passed, and the universe, as you know, doesn't know times and restraints and distances and etc. They do understand it, but they don't, and nor does spirit know what the difference of a minute is, or an hour, or 6 months. To them, it's all the same, and we are one, and we need to learn this. So part of being the journey, one must understand that it's all spirit-driven work. You're guided, you're gifted, and you have to look after that gift. So that's what I say, journeying to a shaman is all about being driven in the ways or paths that you've been led down and bringing it into a practice of everyday life. In modern day, as we know, we've got all the techs stuff, like the mobile phones and the computers, etc., etc. So the internet is a very good base for a lot of practitioners that are out there that are sharing their messages and stuff like that. And part of your journey is obviously trying to find out which one resonates with you best. Now, bringing all the ancestral requirements in from our ancestors into the modern day world can be a bit difficult and a bit hard. But, I get asked the question all the time. I do understand, from one of my students was asking me the other day, I do understand about, our ancient ancestors and stuff like that, but how can we find true balance and true understanding in the modern day world with all these influences and interferences of Wi-Fi's and electricity and all that kind of stuff when they didn't have it? And when they ate for the purpose of feeding their energy. And it's the same in the modern day. In relation to journeying in modern day, we use exactly the same tools as they used to years and years and years ago, and on other planes and dimensions, etc., whatever you want to call them. And one of the main tools in journeying today is you've got the shamanic drum, you've got the rattle, you've got multiple other tools that you can use, the smudge fans, smudge sticks, etc. But the main purpose of getting the vibration and feeling that vibration so you can go down and journey into the 3 different worlds is finding the energy and the feeling that resonates with the vibration and resonates with you. Now, with the rattle and with the shamanic drum, the drum itself, the beat of the drum, resonates and gives you a vibration. And like I say to all my students, if you're using the drum on yourself, make sure the back of the drum is facing you so you can resonate with that vibration and get lost in that vibration, and that will help you take you down on your journey. Same with the rattle, exactly the same. You listen to the rattle and you'd get lost in the world. Okay. Shamanism itself is being one with nature, being one with the universe, being one with your guides, and being one with, if you wish, your clients or the person that you're working with, and being one with your students. There's no I am better than you. There is no that master was a lot better than you because his teachings resonated with me a lot more than, we are all one. We all have to be one. One has to release your ego, release your fears, release the worries or anything that you have. You have to get into a well-balanced state. And this means also going back into the eating side of things and the drinking side of things. For people that are watching the video, you can see I'm a well-built guy, not. I do like my food. Again, it's about creating the balance and understanding the energy behind the food that you're eating. So when I instruct and talk to my clients, and even to my students, I will turn around to them and say, I don't care if you're a meat eater, I don't care if you're a vegan or vegetarian, it's all about creating the balance. Okay. There's a lot of shamans and shamanic practitioners that are out there, and even people that are involved in the spiritual world here on this plane that, turn around to you and say, okay, one has to be, eat cleanly and stuff like that. I totally agree with that. But one doesn't have to become a vegan or a vegetarian. One can still have the meats and everything because our ancestors did. This doesn't mean that I'm against vegan and vegetarians at all, because I'm not. I practice veganism and I also practice vegetarianism. And then, when I feel the need and I need the energy to resonate with me from, be it meat and stuff like that, I do go with the organics. I don't go with anything processed. People stay away. Yes, I do drink coffee, if that was somebody's next question, that I feel that was coming up, and then all my guides were telling me somebody's going to ask a question, do you drink coffee and teas? Yes, I do. It's all about moderation. It's all about having the balance in you to make sure the balance with you yourself in your human form resonates with your spiritual form. So you can guide yourself and mentor yourself and help yourself and heal yourself to move forward and journey into a better place. And this is the basis of what shamanism is all about, is being one with nature. Yes, I don't mean that you have to go out there and, be the hunter-gatherer type of situation. No. I don't believe in hunting as such unless it's a necessity. Because we are all one, and even the animals and plants have energies and vibrations that we need to respect and honor as well. There's a big pull here in Australia at the moment, going away from plastic bags, which I am so happy about. Unfortunately, the modern day world does come with its modern conveniences, and this is one thing that we need to have a look into and say, right, we're actually harming ourselves and the planet, and being one with the planet is literally harming our way of life and moving forward. I'm not getting too political, but, I was watching a video on Facebook the other day where 2 whales had washed up, and I think it was somewhere in Europe. Germany, I think, and they did an autopsy on these 2 whales, and there was more than 4 tons of plastic bags that were in these guys' stomachs. So if you don't do anything but one thing today, all I'm going to say is, on your journey today, if you do go shopping or you do, want to go buy some food or something like that, or even the plastic straws. I mean, plastic bags are one thing, but plastic straws are also going into our oceans. I mean, years ago, if you remember, we used to have paper straws, but modern day conveniences brought in the paper. A lot of friends of mine have the stainless steel straws that they're rewashing, etc., which is a great idea. So one little step on your journey can help the Earth's journey and, the spiritual journey. It's about all about creating balance. But so I'm going to get off my little soapbox now, and I do apologise. Because yes, I do love one-day conveniences, and sometimes it's hard on your specific journey. Okay, so in shamanism, one of the tools that we use, or one of the, I wouldn't say tools, but commitments we use in sacred ceremonies and stuff like that, is about journeying. Now, journeying, what is journeying? In layman's terms, journeying is a meditative process to the rhythm of drums, rattles, or any other percussion instruments. And for everybody that's watching, I'll actually bring up one of my drums so you can have a look at it. And it's an ancient but very powerful way to connect with spirit. Okay. Again, this is all about creating the vibration, creating that energy. And you'll find, if you haven't journeyed before, when you start using the percussion instruments like a rattle or drum or whatever it might be, or sea pods, etc., whatever you like to use, what resonates with you most. And even if you haven't got a drum or rattle, there is plenty shamanic drumming sessions that are on YouTube and Spotify and Soundwave and etc. Or you can even go purchase a drumming CD. And what this is, it will make your connection with the three worlds. You've got the lower world, you've got the upper world, and you've got the middle world. And the journey, in any specific journey, has to be intended correctly. So for you to journey down to the lower world or the middle world, or to meet your ancestors or to meet your spiritual guides, is all about making sure that the intent is there and that you're protected. Because traveling down and journeying down to such a state, meditative state, or relaxation, or whatever you want to call it, can be, for the person that doesn't really understand what's going on, can be really dangerous. Okay. Again, in the normal spiritual worlds, excuse me, when we do psychic readings, or we connect with spirit, or we do, we use cards or Ouija boards or anything like that. I'm not a believer in Ouija boards because they open too many portholes. When you journey down into these worlds, you've got the potential of bringing something back into the norm, which is today, where we are, focused right here, right now. And without the proper understanding and proper protection from your guides, you can easily bring something back with you that can hinder your journey or potentially hurt you on your journey. There are malevolent, I can't say the word, malevolent spirits and dark energies and shadow people, and you name it, they're out there. Shapeshifters, whatever you want to call them. Different indigenous tribes will call them differently. Shadow figures, whatever. They portray themselves to be somebody that you know, to make sure that they connect with you and to make sure that you understand that this is your best friend or this is your mother or father. And then you'll bring them back because you forget to journey or you don't know how to journey. You'll bring them into this realm, and then they'll start following you around, and things will start happening with you that you'll feel a little bump in the night, and things will start going into turmoil where you had a peaceful life before, etc., etc. So this is where shamans, as such, get called to come in and help people go back into the journeys and release and really let go of these negative figures and negative energies, etc., whatever you want to call it. So one has to be prepared to go into a journey state or a meditative state, whatever you'd like to call yourself. I always turn around to my students and say that we live in an unlimited universe. Okay, even though descriptions of this can be a non-ordinary reality or subject to mental limitations. Shamanism is a system of direct revelation, and shamans might describe experiences differently. So if you come to me today, I'll take you down to a journey into the lower world, and I'll explain who's there and who's around you at present and what lessons you need to learn, and you will pick this up from your guides and mentors once you have done a couple of journeys into that. Once you've done that, a couple of days later, you might go to another shaman or do another journey by yourself, and you might pick up something different. Okay. Some people will lead you down the garden path, so to speak, when you're journeying to get you down into the lower worlds. Some people, I know a couple of shamans, when they take their students or take their clients down into the lower worlds, some use the path, the garden path, or walk into a forest, or down the side of a cliff, or up the side of a mountain, depending on which path they take. Others might think, okay, another practicing shaman that I know, she uses rivers. So she takes the guides and the students and clients into the river, and not literally, I'm just saying in this meditative journey state, jumps into the river, and then swims down into the middle, and then whichever way they want to go down, they'll either swim up, down, or stay where they are. Okay. So there are different options of where you need to go and what you need to do. Landscapes and scenarios are different. Okay. Some might go up into the clouds. Some might go up into the universe and visit different planets, etc., etc. The upper world itself, explaining what the worlds are, before we do go into the 9 stages of journeying. Like I said, there is the 3 worlds within shamanism. It's called the shamanism tree, or a shaman's tree, or as everybody knows, the world tree. Okay. So the world tree itself has 3 different realities, if you so wish. So the upper reality, which is the branch and the leaves and everything like that, will be the upper world. This is a place for divine inspiration, cosmic wisdom, and universal awareness, transcendence of time and space. Then you've got the middle world, which is an ordinary and non-ordinary reality, which is the current consciousness. The world we live in, which is today, here, right now, right present. Many troubled spirits will dwell in this, especially in the north of the middle world, and this is where we as shaman travel down into to help troubled spirits and to pass on messages or anything that they've got or any help they require so they can transcend onto the next stage of their journey. Being a shaman is not about being better than somebody else. Being a shaman is about being a healer. Being a voice to your guides and your mentors to pass on their journeys and their experiences and their teachings. Because unfortunately, like I said, thousands and thousands of years ago, when medicine men, medicine women, shamans, witch doctors, the Sangomas of Africa, whatever you want to call a shaman, they didn't have books, they didn't have computers, they didn't have tools. All they had was the different tools of that time, and obviously they used to do the imagery and writings and imagery and stuff like that, and everybody's interpretation of the writings and stuff like that can get misconstrued for something else. However, a part of our journey in today's modern world, and part of your journey, if shamanism is the way that you are going down and walking down, is to pass on this knowledge that hasn't been written down from your ancestors and from their ancestors and from their ancestors and from any other source that you tap into, and bring that out and show the world, share that with people, Because shamanism, again, is a way of life. It's a path of life. It's your true path. It's your true destiny. It's not a religion. And we need to share that. And it's all about sharing and caring. Okay, I say this a lot, and I do apologize if you've heard me say it again, but it's all about sharing the love. It's all about us being one. We've got nothing to hide. I've got nothing to hide. So why not share it? If people disagree with some of the stuff that I say, that's fine with me. I release it, love it, and let it go. But I hope in this lifetime, when I transcend back into my spirit or back into my soul, into the next dimension, that I can honestly say to myself or to my soul and say that I've done my best that I can do on this plane. I've learned all the lessons that I needed to. I've shared as much wisdom as I can in multiple forms and helped and guided, and with the help of my spirits and my guides, shown people on their true journey and path, and with the help of my spirits and guides again, because again, I am not the healer. My guides and my spirits and the universe is the healer. We are all just conduits to this. We, in layman's terms, if you want, your clients, your students, the people that you meet, they're your television set. You are the satellite receiver or the cable box that sits under the TV. Everything that's up there in space and the universe and everything else, that's where all this information is coming from. All that is getting connected down into your little box and shown up on the TV screen. That's all we're doing. We are this conduit. And we are here to help heal all the energies. One must coexist with everything, be it other human beings, other religions, other nationalities, other dimensional planes, other worlds, fauna, flora, humanity, etc. We all need to coexist to build a better earth to where we are. Modern day influences are destroying parts of that and destroying the traditions of shamanism and other religions and stuff like that. It's all about releasing all of that and bringing it back into one. This is all part of our journey. So again, going back onto the shaman's tree or the world tree, whatever you want to say, there are three worlds. There's the upper world and the middle world, which we've touched base on. Now, the lower world is itself, which is the roots of the tree, which go into Mother Earth. There's no ordinary reality. The subconscious, the destiny and spirit, the home of power animals, healing, creative powers. The shaman descends into the deepest regions of the psyche and transform enemies into allies. So what does this mean? It means every specific journey, and every journey that you will do, potentially do, I would say 75% of the journey that you do will be into the lower world, to meet up with your guides, to meet up with your power animals, to do your healing, to regain your creative powers, to establish that connection, to help and to release all fears or negativity to somebody and transform that into a friend rather than a foe. So most of our work, and people might disagree with me again, most of my work currently is all about going into the lower world and helping out. Okay? So we've had a brief discussion on the journeying and your true journey and the three worlds of shamanism. So to actually do the journey, and I'm not saying that everybody that isn't a shamanic practitioner or a shaman or a practicing shaman or a student of shamanism, even a student of shamanism, depending on where you're at the moment, shouldn't or potentially shouldn't do this alone. If you're going to do a journey, I would say connect with a shaman in your local area, and if you can't do that, connect with somebody else that's in the next city or state or overseas. Whoever resonates with you is the person. you will have most benefit with. Okay. So if you haven't done journeying before, I would suggest either you can go onto my Facebook page. One, I've got a drumming session on there that you can listen to. You can also listen to the drumming sessions on YouTube and stuff like that. There are guided meditations and guided journeys. And a very good resource for this, which I trust, instead of going onto YouTube and just clicking in there, Shamanic Journeying, is Sandra Ingerman. Now, she's got thousands of videos on YouTube and even on her website, and she does a couple of journeys there and explains all about journeying and stuff, and the purposes of why we do shamanic journeys and stuff like that, or meditative state, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not going to go on to too much detail on all of that stuff. It's more about making sure that the preparation that you're doing, if you have done journeying before, is correct, and the question or the intentions are set correct, and the protection and the preparations that you've got around you with, if you haven't met your guides and you haven't been to the spiritual realms and stuff like that, is secure and safe and sound. So how does one do that? One cleanses the area with white sage or with Palo Santo or whatever you got. You're basically smudging the area that you're in. You're creating a safe little environment. Okay. For myself, all I do at the moment is, like you've seen before, I'll use a little bit of white sage, and then I'll call my ancestors in, and I'll call my spirit guides and my master animals and my spiritual animals, and they'll all come into the room with me. And then what we do is you create sort of a force field around the area that I'm in, or wherever we are. And if I'm doing distance healing or distance journeying with some of my clients that are international, I'll do exactly the same in their area, their guides and stuff like that, and connect with their energies, and we basically prepare the room and the space that we're in to make sure that it is protected. Then we'll set the intention of the journey, of what we want to basically achieve in this journey. Be it one, to meet or to enter the spiritual realms, which should be your first journey. Your second journey would take you a little deeper. It will take you down into to meet your spiritual masters, your spiritual guides, your power animals, your spirit animals, etc., etc. A lot of my students have done my videos, and they did join me on a live session that I did on Facebook a couple of months ago. And what they did, be it their first journey, I still made sure they were secure and everything like that. And what they did is they sent me a report back to say, this is what I found, this is what I saw, this is what I felt, etc. And I interpreted that for them, because it can be a little bit overwhelming doing it on your first time. And I would suggest having another person, a shamanic practitioner, or somebody that knows shamanism very well, even though they're not practicing it in a professional capacity, to take you on your first journey, so they can guide you through what's going to happen and invoking the correct spirits or helping spirits, etc. So preparation is key. Again, like I said, one, cleanse your area, cleanse yourself, make sure your energies are correct, make sure that the energy in the room is correct. You don't have to be outside in nature to do this. You can do this in your own home. You can do this in your bed. It's exactly the same as meditation. Whatever suits your fancy in meditation will work in the journeying aspects. If you haven't got a drum, you can listen to a couple of recordings of drumming music. Or if you haven't got a rackle or you've got a flute, you can use one of them. If you haven't, then you can also listen to, there's plenty of it, Native American, Indian music that's out there, all different cultures like the Norse and the Vikings, the Samis with their drums, and etc., etc. So there's a lot of resources out there for you to listen to. You don't have to specifically have your own drum at this point in time. When you are ready to receive your drum, and your drum is being birthed, forgive me for saying birth, because everything that we do, we don't make something and something just arrives. Doesn't matter what it is in our world. When we build our drums, when we build or make our rattles, or even our medicine wheels and stuff like that, when it is finished and you've been guided by your spirit guides to turn around and say, this is finished, it's been birthed, because it's energy. And all energy, as everybody knows, is living. So once you've got all of this, and you've set the intentions of the room, you've set your intentions of connecting and why you want to do this journey, and who you'd like to meet, or potentially meet. Because at the end of the day, when you do go down, things can go a little bit different to where you wanted to go and what you wanted to do and what you wanted to achieve. But 99% of the time, you're going to have the exact journey that you intended with your spiritual guides or spiritual mentor or spiritual master or spiritual teacher, whatever you want to call it. So preparation is key. Then when you're ready, you're going to breathe, you're going to relax, and you're going to say a little prayer or affirmation, if you don't like the word prayer. The one I usually use is quite simple. It is helping spirits, named and unnamed, seen and unseen. All you who seek to help me and guide me on the path of my purpose, I honor you and ask you for your protection and assistance on my journey. I ask you to insert your intent in this little section. So I ask you to, whatever you want to intend, help me on my journey to the low world to meet my animal helping spirit that will be most useful to me at this point in time. Show me the true nature of my financial troubles, etc., whatever it might be, and help me see the root belief at the core of my fears of intimacy. So basically what that means is you're releasing it, you're releasing that intention, you've set your intention, so you're going to get your insights, and you're going to feel the connection, and you're going to get your answers that you're seeking. Okay. So once you've done that, you're going to sit or lie down in a comfortable position. Some people obviously sit because most of the people that lie down in the modern day world, we're not getting a lot of sleep, so they'll fall asleep. So sitting I use a lot instead of lying down because I know me. Unfortunately, I will go to sleep. But so sitting down, relaxing, taking 3 deep breaths in, and then you're either going to start your drumming music or you're going to have your drum in your hand and you're going to start listening to the vibration and the beat of the drum. And that's going to take you down. So then you're ready to start journeying. So relaxing state, preparation of the room, making sure that you're protected. You've called in your spiritual guides if you've done journeying before with the power animals, etc. If you haven't done journeying, the first journey that you'll ever do is exploring the entrance to the spiritual world. So, and it's not a case of worrying about, well, what am I going to see? What am I going to, how am I going to feel? Who's going to come in? What am I going to do? Etc., etc. You need to stop worrying about everything and simply hold that intention to explore your entrance into the non-ordinary reality. Okay, allow yourself to visualize and feel the surroundings that you're going into. Allow yourself to feel the energies, to feel the sacred space that you're walking into. Again, it's probably something that you've never seen before, in this realm. It's probably something very familiar to you, where you'd walk into, I don't know, your front lawn, and, your best place when we're growing up as a kid, you had this big oak tree in the back garden that you used to go sit down. This might be it. This is what resonates with you, and this is what Spirit is showing you. Use as many of your senses that you can. Okay, so hear, you smell, you taste. You can taste the air. You can taste the energy around you. You can hear things around you. Okay. You can smell, obviously, a different smell. You can feel the cold chills and the energy and the vibration around you. Pick up everything that you want, okay? And don't worry yourself if you do go down into this journey or journeying state, and 20 or 30 minutes later, you come out of it, or even a couple of minutes later, you come out of it and you were absolutely nothing. And this is what I say to my students. Practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the more it's going to happen. And the stronger your connection with spirit and the stronger your intentions will become. It's all about losing yourself as such and being one with your guides, your masters, and the universe around you to receive the messages that you need to get. Okay. And again, the more you do it, the stronger it's going to get. So if it takes you 2 or 3 times, or 5 or 10 times to have a look at your spiritual world or the entrance, and you can only get to as far as seeing the door or seeing the portal, etc., then so be it. That means you're not ready to take this next stage. So every journey that you take, it'll keep happening and keep going, and the stronger and the better the intentions are, and the more confidence you feel, and the loss of the ego, the loss of the fear, the loss of being, alone, etc., will dissipate. And you'll find that your sense and your senses will hyperextend and allow you to go down. And then you'll be able to visualize everything that's happening. Okay. So when you've finished, if you've managed to go through the first stage and go through and you're finished, you always bring yourself back. And the way I do it is I always bring myself back, or my clients back, with 3 big drum beats or 3 shakes of the rattle. So that's knowing and letting me know that I now need to come back into this reality. Once that's done, you sit and relax and control yourself, making sure that you've closed, if you've gone through, you've closed that gate, the door. And the way I do it is when we're walking back in from the journey to where we are today, and sitting right here, right now, I physically tell my students and my clients that there is a door. I want them to walk through this door and to close that door behind. And if they're walking up the path before they reach the door, anything that they put into their pockets or they picked up on their journey that they grabbed or whatever needs to be released. Once it's released, you're letting it go. Once you walk through the door, that's the creating of the barrier. So you're closing the door and you're locking everything back into there. Okay. Once that's done, you come back into where you are now. Relaxing, meditative state. Your mind might be then kicking in and saying, right, there's 100 things that I need to write down. And I always say, have a journey journal. And make sure that you're writing down everything that you do, everything that you experience, every smell that you picked up. And if you can't explain it, associate that with something that you can. And then either, if you are a practicing shaman, you obviously go through, have a look and say, right, this is this and this. If not, you can either speak to somebody about it. If you're starting fresh in your journey or you've never done this type of situation before, you contact a shamanic practitioner or you contact me. I'm not saying that, trying to boost my own friendship on Facebook, etc. But I am happy to discuss and show you and bring to you the messages that you received within your journeys. So if you do intend to do the journey drumming session that I've got on my Facebook page, more than welcome to. Like I said, just make sure you prepare yourself and you set the correct intentions. And then once that's done, if you want to write everything down and send it to me and you can't interpret it, I am more than happy to do so. Okay. So we've got 10 minutes left. So I'm just going to go run through the first journey again, just recapping, is exploring the entrance to the spirit world. The second journey will be basically going down into the lower world and exploring to see who your animal spirits are, who your guides are. And again, setting the intention, setting the room up, or wherever you are, and setting you up so you can create that balance within. And allow yourself to go down the same path, the same journey that you went into. But then now, we're going to go down into the hole, or a rabbit tree, or into the lake, and we're going to walk down and physically fly down, or whatever you want to do, whatever resonates with you the best. Just physically feel yourself going down and down and down into the lower world. And then what I say with my students and with my clients is I will guide them through this process. And I'll say the deeper you go, the darker it's going to get. Excuse me. However, you're protected, you're loved, you're guided, because my guides are with you, and nothing will be of issue to you. Take them down, or take yourself down into this dark world, and then just relax, let yourself go in the black abyss. And then all of a sudden, you'll eventually see the light, or an image flash in front of you, or the light in the distance. So you're going to start floating or walking to this light. And then all these messages and everything, and everybody's going to present themselves to you. So on your path, you might meet, the wolf, the bear, the raven, a coyote, a dog, a gecko, a bee, etc. These are there to help you at this point in time. Okay, you might also meet a spirit guide that's of mind descent. You might even seek or find a Native American spirit guide. You might even find a Lemurian spirit guide, or somebody from that you can't even recognize or put a face to, or etc. Because it's just a figurine that you've never seen before. This might be from another plane or another dimension. These are here to help you on the specific part of your journey, to help you focus on what you need to do to heal and help yourself and to move forward. For you to release what you need to release, and to help you on your specific journey. Okay. And again, when you're coming back into yourself, it's about coming back up the side of the path, or the hill, or swimming up the river, and floating back down, back up from where you came down, etc. Or if you're in clouds, etc., coming back into the modern realm of where we are today, into your body. Making sure that everything that you've picked up and you've associated with is released behind those closed doors. This does not mean that you're going to lose all the imagery and you can't think of anything when you do come back, because you won't. It will all still be with you. It's just releasing the energies or anything that might be with you behind, so you don't bring it out and let it loose around you at this point in time where you are today, because again, that could have adverse effects on you. So exiting the journey is very, very, very important in relation to making sure that when you're ready to leave your journey, you ask your animals or spirit guides to help you retrace, if you're doing this by yourself. If you're doing it with a shamanic practitioner, they'll be there to guide you back and to help you up by releasing everything. And then I always say, when I'm finished, I'll give you 3 big drums, or you feel a little wiggle, or whatever you might feel, and you're back into the modern day world. Then you have to basically sit down and record everything that you've seen, done, and felt. And this is all about journeying and doing that. And once you've done that, and then I journey at least once a week, or once every couple of days if I can, with 1 day restraints, obviously, being really busy. With me, when I first started journeying, it took me a while. I'm not going to lie to you. It took me a long while to actually go into a journeying state. But then once I did, everything just started flowing naturally. And what took me 45 minutes to an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes in a journey state, I can do within 3 or 4 minutes now. Not saying that it's good, but for me, it's when I'm, okay, don't hate me for this, but when I'm driving the car or anything like that, I'll park in the parking lot at my destination, and I'll just have 3 seconds to myself, and I'll connect with my spirit guides and do a little journey down to rebalance and see what the meaning of, if I'd just been, an animal had just crossed my path or something like that, or I was nearly involved in an accident or something like that. So I'd find out what that message is and sit down and journey to that. So journeying is a beneficial part of shamanism, and it also, again, with shamanic practicing out there and practitioners and stuff like that, we do a lot of work down in the worlds, and this is where most of our work is achieved, with the guidance and help and using the resources from our ancestors, because again, we are just a conduit. So again, just recapping, I know I've recapped a lot, but this is all about shamanism and journeying and shamanism and stuff like that. If you haven't done journeying before, more than welcome to go on my Facebook page and listen to the journeying session, take notes. But if it's your first journey, make sure that you do the entrance and you go into the entrance. And if you can't go into the entrance, don't worry about it, and just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Okay. Modern day phrases that I associate with this a lot is practice makes perfect, and the other one was Rome wasn't built in a day, and the hare didn't win the race. The hare and the tortoise, if everybody knows that scenario quite well, that the hare was bragging that he was the quickest animal and stuff like that, and the tortoise obviously being the slowest animal, but it was slow and steady. And slow and steady wins the race. I'm not talking about, saying that you have to win, you have to win, you have to win. It's not about that at all. It's about making sure that what you're getting, you understand, and the gifts that you're receiving, you use to the full potential. And part of the shamanic traditions is obviously journeying to find out what your true path and true functions are as a shaman. If you want to do shamanism professionally, and be a shamanic practitioner and stuff like that, or you just want the base there for other spiritual routes that you want to go down into, psychic mediumship and clairvoyancy, or just reading tarot cards. I think shamanism is the base for everything. And journeying, be it meditative or journeying as such, is a good tool for anybody to have, shaman or not. I think we've got about a minute left. So I'm going to leave it there, and like I said, just recapping, just making sure that you record anything, and if you do need my help on that, you can private message me or connect with me on Facebook, Jonathan Wolf. We are here every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Saturday morning in Brisbane and Sydney. And I hope that you've got something out of today's show. I know an hour goes by really quickly, and we can talk on this for days and days and days. Well, I could anyway. And I hope you didn't lose your path or lose your interest. But if you do have any questions, the next session we will be going live and doing a couple of live phone calls in and live questions if anybody has got questions next time. And stay tuned, because at 7 o'clock Eastern, you got Sci-Fi Sci Earth with Becky, which is an awesome show. I listened to it last week, and excited to see what she has this week. So I'm going to leave everybody in love and blessings. I wish we had more time, because, like I said, we can talk on this for hours and hours and even days and weeks and months. So I'll leave you in love and blessings, and please join me at the same time next week. Thank you very much for listening and tuning in.